Order. Clerk, call the roll.
Mr. Moore?
Here.
Mrs. Rich?
Here.
Mrs. Gallagher?
Here.
Mr. Krafcheck?
Here.
Mr. Parzak?
Here.
Mr. Dallahan?
Here.
The meeting is now open. Adequate notice of the meeting was provided by posting a copy of the time and place on the municipal clerk's bulletin board and mailing a copy of same to the press and the Cape May County Herald on January 4th, 2019. Will everyone please rise to salute the flag? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Do we have any communications?
No, Mayor.
We will now have public comment. Anyone wishing to address mayor and council may do so at this time by coming forward to the microphone and stating your name and address for the record.
John Reddy, 216 105th. I have to make a comment about the signs.
The sandwich board
The
signs.
We're
Okay.
established in 1914. We're 105 years old, and we had no arrows, and we have $4.5 billion worth of ratables. So I don't think the signs meant much. So be it for the signs.
Thank you, John.
The other thing is the back on the smoke. You brought it up.
Oh, okay.
You know, there's a lot of people in town that won't say they have a problem with the outside fireplaces because they're not wrapped around a lot of new houses at one time. And that's where the biggest problem is, because the stacks are short. You know, if you have an inside fireplace, that thing's 40-something feet up in the air. It's blowing around. So I think what's interesting is on the website, we have a notice, breathe easy. All parks and beaches within the borough of Stone Harbor are 100% smoke-free, but the houses aren't. I mean, I've been to EPA over in the county, et cetera. This is a Stone Harbor issue. You know, believe it or not, it doesn't affect the Clean Air Act or anything. They said they would come out and check burning embers and stuff if the embers are burning on your property and if they're still burning when you get there. I said, well, you might as well bring the fire department by the time they get there, right? So you got shake shingle roofs. They're baking out in the sun. You get all this dry spot, and we got guys building building fires out in the back. Now, I think I sent everybody a picture of a house near me. I don't know if you saw it, but.
Did everybody
there's-
see this, get that picture? That I wasn't sure if
Did you
it
see
went
the?
to everybody.
You saw the
I
picture,
did.
right? There's got to be 10 years' worth of firewood sitting in the backyard. It's a rental house. And if you're a renter, you're burning it. And it's been pretty hot, right? Right? Everybody around me's got smoked out twice already.
So it's, I was going to say, it's already has begun
Yeah,
this summer for
they
you.
burn it. So, you know, I don't know why they're burning it when it's 85 degrees out at night, but they burn it.
Ambiance.
Ambiance.
Ambiance,
Yeah, well, you can get that out of the gas,
right.
right? So, anyway, you're going to send it to Safety Committee?
Well, that's
Talk-
what
to
is going to
talk
be
about?
discussed at the next Public Safety Committee. You're talking about embers and so on and so forth. So that's one aspect
Right.
of it. So it's a place to begin.
Yeah, and I think it should be a serious one, too. I mean, people have any kind of breathing problems, older people that have a breathing problem anyway, just from an aging standpoint. That stuff is floating around out there. We literally have to shut the house down, put the air conditioner on, because you can't be outside.
Jeez.
And I got a neighbor, he won't come in because he doesn't want to bother the neighbor, but the neighbor's never there because he rents. But he has an awning over his deck, and he's sitting right next to him, and that thing is smoke-filled because it's got no place to go, and he's trapped. So there's other
Okay.
people in the same boat, but, and the
Okay.
people that you talk to that don't have a problem, they don't have any fireplaces around,
Right.
you know?
Okay.
So, anyway.
All right, point taken. Anyone else like to address mayor and council?
Ron Soldano, Ocean View. Do we have an update on the issue that's been ongoing with the fox versus the piping plovers on Stone Harbor Point?
I do not believe we do.
No, I had reached out to the gentleman from Fish and Wildlife, and I was just informed today that he's been on vacation because I hadn't gotten a response. So I have to wait till he comes back from vacation.
Last
have
time I was
received-
here,
Sorry.
I had asked mayor and council what their opinions are about that, and you mentioned that you thought it was unfair that I would do that. Have you changed your position on that, Mayor?
No, I haven't. I still find it inappropriate. And like I said, there's several council members who have not had the opportunity to meet with Fish and Wildlife officials. And I want to avoid any sort of emotional or any sort of lack of civility, so on and so forth. And I think at this time, especially because we have new council people, they need to be afforded the opportunity to get whatever facts they want. And I think for those of us who have been here having the discussion, everybody can pretty much is well aware of how we feel. I don't know that it's necessary to be polling the council members.
Okay,
Okay.
I'll just give you my opinion then on what I feel that whole situation is with regard to the fox and the snare trap and everything we've been going through back and forth. We know that we've put, apparently, the piping plover lives above the foxes on Stone Harbor Point. I have a problem with that. I have a problem with killing those mammals. I have a problem with killing any animals, and I have a problem with playing God, putting one life above another of one species. I understand the piping plovers are endangered, or that's what I'm being told, and that's what I've read. However, if a storm wiped out Stone Harbor Point, would the piping plovers become extinct? I don't think so. I think natural selection allows for wildlife to find its path, and where they go from that point on, I don't know, but I think it's possible that they wouldn't become extinct, and even probable. We now have a situation where I just read that the monkfish population in the ocean is dwindling because the water is so warm, and I can attest to it. It was 80 degrees the other day when I was in the ocean, that the monkfish are moving north. This is affecting the commercial fishermen. Do we now become the monkfish police as well? Where do we draw the line with tampering with natural selection and wildlife, putting one life above another, or one species' lives above another? I just don't know, and I don't think it's right. I have a problem internally with killing other creatures and placing some other species' lives above the ones we are taking out. I think it's appalling, and I'm really appalled by the fact that other people would support that.
Ron, can I ask a question?
Sure,
You are from Ocean View.
I am.
What do you do for your natural selection in Ocean View for creatures?
What do I do?
What does your community do?
You know, I don't know what the community does, to be honest with you. I know I can tell you this. I'm not a snake person. I'm not a reptile person. I've seen 6, 7, 8-foot-long black snakes on my yard. I've left them alone, and they just go about their business. Twice I saw a coyote on my property. It took out a wild turkey at one particular time. I didn't call anyone. It's just what it was. I haven't seen the coyotes back, and that was about 5 years ago. I saw a red fox. In fact, I was backing out of my driveway, and a red fox was walking down the path and was going east towards the meadows. I just leave it alone. I just leave them all alone. There are bats out there. There are raccoons. One was on my rear step. He was looking through the kitchen door. I thought he wanted to come in. Left him alone. I don't see many skunks. That's interesting. Once in a while, I'll see a skunk, but rare. So that's the wildlife that I see on my property, and I keep my property mowed. I keep it trimmed, and they still appear. But I don't try to remove them. I don't try to kill them. I don't try to do any of the sort.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Probably the best thing to say, it is under discussion. It's definitely under discussion. Council members have not yet taken advantage of the opportunity to meet with the Fish and Wildlife.
I thought that was
Folks.
I thought that was supposed to happen before.
Right, has not been scheduled.
Okay.
Has not been scheduled.
Okay.
So that has yet to happen.
It was requested. I'm just waiting for them to respond back.
Yeah, I wanted to know if I made a mistake in erring on the fact that I thought it was supposed to happen prior to this meeting, but that's not the case.
Well, all we can do is reach out, and if they don't answer us,
Yeah, I don't have any control
And this
over it.
fellow's on vacation, so maybe there's a fox in the snare trap now until he comes back from vacation.
well, according to what we know, there is not, it is, the last time we were notified it was happening was May 13th through May 17th, and we've not been notified since.
Correct. They are currently not trapping anything.
They're currently not trapping.
Correct.
Okay.
And I have been assured that they notify the borough when they come in, The last notification we got was for that week, and we have not received the notification since. And they are well aware that we would like to meet with them.
Okay,
Okay?
thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else like to address mayor and council? Okay. Women's national soccer team is up 2-1. Cool. Yep. I had to do a quick Google. Ordinance 1552.
I couldn't understand. it.
national soccer team is up 2-1.
Oh, I couldn't understand a word you said.
Ordinance 1552.
Madam Mayor, I move that ordinance 1552 be taken up on second reading.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Will the clerk read the title only of ordinance 1552 on second reading?
An ordinance to authorize a private sale of real property situate between an existing bulkhead and the northwesterly property line of lots 539 and 540, block 200.3, on the tax map of the Borough of Stone Harbor.
The public hearing on ordinance 1552 is open. The public hearing is closed.
Madam Mayor, I move that ordinance 1552 be passed on second reading and advance to third and final reading.
Second.
Clerk, call the roll.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Mrs. Rich?
Yes.
Mrs. Gallagher?
Yes.
Mr. Kraftcheck?
Yes.
Mr. Parzak?
Yes.
Mr. Dallahan?
Yes.
Will the clerk read the title only of ordinance 1552 on third and final reading?
An ordinance to authorize a private sale of real property situate between an existing bulkhead and the northeasterly property line of lots 539 and 540.
Madam Mayor, I move that ordinance 1552 be passed on third and final reading, adopted, and published according to law.
Second.
Clerk, call the roll.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Mrs. Rich?
Yes.
Mrs. Gallagher?
Yes.
Mr. Kraftcheck?
Yes.
Mr. Parzak?
Yes.
Mr. Dallahan?
Yes.
Resolution 2019 S-115.
Mayor and Council, I offer Resolution 2019-S-115 for adoption.
Second?
This resolution allows the Public Works Department to enter into the cooperative pricing system with the North Jersey Wastewater Cooperative Pricing System.
Any discussion? Clerk, call the roll.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Mrs. Rich?
Yes.
Mrs. Gallagher?
Yes.
Mr. Kraftcheck?
Yes.
Mr. Parzak?
Yes.
Mr. Dallahan?
Yes.
Resolution 2019 S-116.
I offer Resolution 2019 S-116 for adoption.
Second?
This is merely a refund of overpayment for kiosk charges, beach tags, et cetera.
Any discussion? Clerk, call the roll.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Mrs. Rich?
Yes.
Mrs. Gallagher?
Yes.
Mr. Kraftcheck?
Yes.
Mr. Parzak?
Yes.
Mr. Dallahan?
Yes.
Resolution 2019 S-117.
I'd like to offer Resolution 2019 S-117 for adoption.
Second.
This is a resolution that's authorizing a service contract with Shore Counseling Services. It starts June 1st and it goes to May 31st, and it's a $2,700 expense.
Any discussion? Clerk, call the roll.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Mrs. Rich?
Yes.
Mrs. Gallagher?
Yes.
Mr. Kraftcheck?
Yes.
Mr. Parzak?
Yes.
Mr. Dallahan?
Yes.
Resolution 2019 S-118.
I offer Resolution 2019 S-118 for adoption.
Second?
This is to refund overpayment for a construction permit in the amount of $20.
Any discussion? Clerk, call the roll.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Mrs. Rich?
Yes.
Mrs. Gallagher?
Yes.
Mr. Kraftcheck?
Yes.
Mr. Parzak?
Yes.
Mr. Dallahan?
Yes.
I need a motion approving a special event for the Ace Furniture Sale.
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? I need a motion authorizing or approving a new fireman,
So moved.
Second?
Michael Jaworski Jr. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Discussion, we'll go back to our bulkhead discussion that we had in the work session. So we need to kind of close it on how we feel. Are we going to be including bulkheads? Is that our intent, to include bulkheads in that ordinance? And if so, do we want to have a change that says that? Do we not? So it seems the only, as I listen to everybody, I'm trying to see what kind of consensus we have. So I asked the solicitor, so we can call for a vote to see whether or not,
Someone should phrase a motion so you know what the parameters are you're voting on.
so what could we move? We
I
make it,
can move that, I'll move that bulkhead installation be exempted from the construction ordinance.
Second.
Who seconded?
Charles seconded.
And in that, it's contemplated that the ordinance would be amended to reflect that, correct?
Yes.
Clerk, call the roll.
Does everyone understand the motion?
Can you explain it again, please?
Not me.
The motion on the table is that the ordinance that prohibits the driving of pilings from July 1st through Labor Day would exclude the installation of bulkheads.
So they would not be prohibited. You could install a bulkhead during that period of time.
Mr. Moore?
No.
Mrs. Rich?
No.
Mrs. Gallagher?
No.
Mr. Kraftcheck?
Yes.
Mr. Parzak?
Yes.
Mr. Dallahan?
Yes.
Yes. Motion carries, so we'll need to introduce an ordinance change reflecting that at the next council meeting. And in the interim, can we authorize the construction official then that understands what, can we do that intent of your, he can act on that?
Yes, you can tell them that that's the intent.
Okay. Let me see what else I have. Stand by. May I have a motion approving the bills?
I move at this time to approve the bill list and authorize the CFO to pay the bills when the funds are available and the vouchers are properly endorsed.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We are not going into closed session?
We're not?
We are not?
No.
No. The clerk had it on there just in case something came up last minute, just in case. She's learned from the past. We will now have another public comment. Anyone wishing to address mayor and council may do so at this time by coming forward and stating your name and address for the record. Seeing no one, I will close.
I was just going to bring, I had a thought since
Do I
Mr.
close
Reddy.
public?
Close
Stand by.
public comment and
Okay.
then-
Public comment is closed.
I had a thought since Mr. Reddy spoke at the previous public comment. And I know you had mentioned it at prior meetings with regard to the master plan inclusion about fireplaces and smoke. And I just thought about it for a second, and perhaps this is something we want to address since it's a summertime. It sounds like maybe it's more of a summertime nuisance than it is in the off-season, and I think outdoor fireplaces perhaps are more appropriate in the fall when it's cooler. The weather's more, people are more inclined to have a fireplace, and it's more appropriate, if you will, to have an outdoor wood-burning fireplace then. So perhaps as a first step, or as a first thought, I'm thinking perhaps we should impose, as we did with the construction, some sort of,
Summer prohibition when you're
summer
having windows open.
right.
How would we enforce that? How would we?
I
Same
guess
way
by
you
the
enforce
same
the
way.
I don't
construction,
think
right?
it's a bad idea. I'm just saying, how in
Same
the
way
world would you
enforce the
enforce it?
construction ordinance. I mean, if
Same way, yeah, somebody,
somebody calls and you enforce it.
Complaints, yeah.
Just a thought, that's all.
it's a thought, it's a thought.
Good to think.
Okay. Oh, well, I'm kind of like just sitting here, aren't I? Stand by. We know, motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We're adjourned. Happy 4th of July, everyone. Enjoy.